I call it VHDA because that's I guess the old name. Now the new name is, you say, is Virginia Housing.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. So just in case you're watching this and you're like, Jay said Virginia Housing, Abraham said VHDA, what am I looking at? You're at the right video. You're watching the right video. Hi, this is Abraham Walker, and I'm back with Jay Hoffman to talk about the VHDA loan program. How you doing, Jay?
Outstanding. How are you?
I'm doing very well. This is the 2021 summer update. The VHDA loan program video on our channel, Where to Live in Northern Virginia, is one of our more popular videos. Jay is constantly getting calls from individuals, and it makes sense for us to kind of do a recap video to kind of answer some commonly asked questions and to give you kind of an update of what's going on in the real estate market right now. What do you think about that, Jay?
I think it's due. It's been like since last March that we put out a video, so I think we're definitely due.
That's true. And I want to talk about like what's going on in the real estate market, especially pertaining to VHDA buyers. Okay, so let's jump into that. That'll be our first topic, the summer real estate market update. Jay, what are you seeing on your end as far as working with VHDA buyers now that we're moving into the summer season?
We're definitely winning a lot more contracts now that there's a little bit more lag time with the houses staying on the market, and just spreading the word to people that have a 2-year work history, pay their bills on time, but just don't have that massive amount of cash for the down payment. Spreading the word to those people and letting them know that they can actually buy a house without spending a terrible amount of money through the VHDA Virginia Housing Program. It's never not enough to be able to spread the word because too many people don't know all the benefits.
Gotcha. And just to speak on like how the housing market is slowing down, I mean, really, like over the last 3 weeks, we're just starting to see houses start to sit on the market longer. And the reason why that's a benefit to VHDA buyers is because really at the beginning of the year, when multiple offers were going in on almost every property, it was very challenging to actually get a VHDA buyer approved because people were paying over asking price, which some VHDA buyers were not able to do. A lot of people were having super short closings, which even though Jay could close a property quickly with the VHDA program, it's just that the buyers weren't as competitive. But now as we see the houses start to sit on the market a little bit longer, we're actually starting to see more VHDA buyers become competitive, and this is the time. I think this is the time for you to find that house, especially since the summer market is usually when we start to see a lot of the spring inventory that didn't sell, and also people who are about to sell before school starts to come on the market. So you're going to see a nice amount of inventory that comes on the market. What do you think about that, Jay?
Definitely. Right now is the sweet spot, and you nailed it with the school, because the people want to get their stuff organized and in place before the school starts. So, it's probably for like another month or so, and then things will probably curtail a little bit as the kids are going back to school. So yeah, I think right now we're definitely seeing the sweet spot.
Gotcha. Now, talk to me about the student loan guidelines for FHA borrowers.
Well, it's funny you ask it. This actually just came out yesterday and became effective today. General public in Virginia, if you have applied for a loan in the past and were not able to get the loan because you have too many student loans, you might want to revisit this. We cut in half the amount that we have to charge against you or count against you as a liability. It used to be 1% of the total balance for FHA. Now it's 0.5%. And I myself have got to go through all the people that I've talked to in the past, because there's a bunch of them that are now qualified that weren't before. And this just came out. So student loans, if you have a lot of them, it doesn't count as much against you anymore. And it used to be, 1% of the lot. If you have 100,000 in student loans, that's $1,000 a month we have to count against you. Well, now it's 500.
Wow.
So if you're going FHA, this is very powerful.
Perfect. And you can pair the FHA loan with the VHDA product too.
Yes. You're either going conventional or FHA, and that typically depends on what your credit score is.
Gotcha. Now, who is classified as a first-time home buyer for the Virginia Housing Program?
Well, obviously, if you've never bought a home before, you're a first-time home buyer. But the other little niche is if you haven't owned a home in the last 3 years, then you are again considered a first-time home buyer.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
Now, what is the minimum credit score for a VHDA?
620 will get you the grant or the 100% option. If you have 680, then you're eligible for the what we call 101.5 option, which basically gives you extra money to help you pay your closing costs. Now, in the past videos we've done, I've used the word net zero. I got to admit, that's my word. That's not like an official word, Virginia housing word. But what I mean by that is if you go with the 101.5% program and you get either a small lender credit or a little bit of seller concession, or maybe even a discounted real estate commission, then you basically are literally fronting your earnest money deposit, getting it back at closing, and then after the loan goes through post-closing, you're getting your appraisal money back, and that's what we call, or what I'm calling, a net zero transaction. You're basically fronting money, getting it back, and then you're being handed keys to start making mortgage payments. The only thing we can't get you the money back for is the home inspection, because we don't require that, but we always ask that you get that because it's a good thing to have. You need to know everything about your house that you're going to buy.
Gotcha. So I guess one of my questions that I was going to ask, you were going to answer, is the 3 programs that are offered by the VHDA or Virginia Housing. Now,
Right.
You just went over that, but just could you break that down?
Absolutely, yes. This isn't how they word it, but this is the best way to kind of visualize it. If you look at it, there's 3 different ways to get it done. One way is you're going to make a 1% down payment, and this is going to be done through the grant, through the VHDA grant. The second way is 100% financing, and this is done through a first and second trust. There's no grant on this program. The third way is what we call 101.5, which is a first and second trust that add up to 101.5, and that extra 1.5 is money to help you pay your closing costs.
Gotcha. Excellent. No, thanks for that clarification. Are members of the military able to use the VHDA program?
Yes, absolutely. If they're first-time homebuyers, it's actually a really good track for military as well. If they're first-time homebuyers, they can get 100% financing, and then they can get a 2% grant to help them pay their closing costs, which I would definitely put this under the net zero umbrella as well.
Thanks for that breakdown, Jay. Now, it sounds like there's actually 3 financing options, right? So there's FHA, VA, conventional, that all work with the VHDA or Virginia Housing Program. Okay, Jay, now that we've talked about the different programs available through Virginia Housing, where can you use the program in the state of Virginia?
Anywhere with a Virginia address.
Excellent. So you can use the Virginia Housing Program in all of Virginia.
That's correct.
So Jay, tell me about the mortgage credit certificate.
So typically, if you're buying your first home, you can get a mortgage credit certificate from Virginia Housing, and it can save you thousands of dollars by reducing the amount of federal income tax you owe. Unlike an income tax reduction, the MCC is dollar for dollar credit against your federal income tax liability. This credit is equal to 10% of the annual mortgage interest you pay, and the remaining 90% may still be taken as a tax deduction. The MCC is effective for the life of your mortgage as long as you live in the home. You are able to get this MCC through VHDA at no charge. If you were to go outside of VHDA, you can get it, but there's a charge for it. I don't know exactly what that is, but it's definitely an added benefit.
Are you seeing a lot of people ask you about that MCC, that mortgage credit certificate?
I put it on every one of my loans.
You do? Okay, perfect.
Everyone of my VHDA, Virginia Housing loans.
Now, when will you pull the credit report for the individual? I get this question a lot from individuals who are interested in the Virginia Housing Program. When does that happen?
Typically, I'll have a phone consultation with the customer, and from there, plot our plan, plot our path. And so from there, he or she would go to my website, fill out an application, and if they're not capable, I can help them. And then that's when we're going to pull their credit and put together a plan for them.
Gotcha. Let's talk more about this process. So somebody watches one of our amazing videos, then they reach out to you to ask for more information about the VHDA program. You schedule a phone call with them, is that correct?
Yes, typically we'll start out with a phone consultation, and then from there I can pretty much get a feel for which way we're going to go with this. But to make it official, go to my website and fill out an application and give me all their information, and then that's where I'll pull their credit and come up with a plan.
Okay, so you pull their credit, come up with a plan. Let's say that their credit says that they have A1 credit and they're ready to go. Do they then meet with the real estate agent to kind of start the home buying process?
Yes, we would match them up for the area that they're looking, and then we would team them up with an agent and start looking for homes.
Gotcha. Now, when they find a home that they're interested in, how long does it take you to close a VHDA loan? Like when they're writing offers, do they have to write a long offer time? because they're using the program, or does it matter?
This is pretty much just as fast as any regular loan that we're doing. And with inventory staying on the market a little bit longer, the business is just a fraction slower. So that means we can go a little bit faster. Typically I ask for 30 days, but realistically I can get these done in 3 weeks right now.
Gotcha. So you can get it done in 3 weeks. Now there is one point or one thing that I don't think that we've mentioned yet, but this is a great time to go into. To use the Virginia housing program, you will need the certificate, correct?
Yes, that you've taken the class, correct.
Yes. So you take the class, and you were telling me before we started filming that there's some new information about the classes, correct?
Actually, yes. I just read this morning that the face-to-face classes are going to start back up. We're allowed to start sending agendas on June 30th, which means the classes will probably start back up at the end of July.
Okay, so face-to-face classes will start. They'll be back at the end of July, and there's still the online option as well. So you can take the online option. The difference between the two options is what?
You have to take a test at the end of the online option. And
do you have to pass the test, or you just
you have to pass? You have to pass it. Yes.
You have to pass it. Okay.
So that could be more challenging for some people.
Gotcha. That's good to know. So you have your certificate before you purchase your home. You can actually get the certificate while the house is under contract. So it's not necessarily something that you need.
Happens a lot
before you start buying a home.
Yeah, you don't have to be under contract to have it. You don't have to have the certificate to be under contract. You just have to have it by the time you close, or probably like a week or 10 days before, just so that the underwriter can look at it and sign off on it.
Gotcha. How long does it take to take the online class?
I am pretty sure it's 8 hours. They're both 8 hours. Or actually the face-to-face is less than 8, but I'm pretty sure the online is 8 hours.
Excellent. Well, Jay, I think that is all the questions that I have on my end that I could think of right now. Thanks so much for joining me. What's the best way for them to reach out to you?
Best way is to call me on my cell phone, and that is 703-582-7481, or you can email me at jay.hoffman, HOFFMAN, @movement.com.
Excellent. Well, Jay, thanks again for joining me.
My pleasure.
For another episode, and we will see you on the next video. Peace.